you're fine, but you look good. What makes you look good? Your appearances, or maybe let's say your hair and all. Take it off.
And find out who you
And
are
find
without
out.
it. There is an identity that goes beyond the physical.
Definitely.
That delves deep within yourself. Some people that may not be wearing anything seemingly significant, but just their presence tells you that, okay, this is a person of significance. Getting too used to change, that the idea of staying becomes uncomfortable.
One of the most addictive substances in the world is emotions. I don't have to have a dependency on them validating me before I feel validated.
Because I care about you and I don't want to trigger this trauma in you, I'm going to do this. But then if I'm doing this, I also need to understand that I'm going to communicate it so that you don't feel like, okay, because this thing is going on, then I'm ghosting you, or I'm getting isolated from you and stuff. Is it a trauma response in me? Would it trigger a trauma response? The deepest aspect of mindfulness is being accountable for the emotions of other people around you too. Trauma is so powerful. You can literally reconfigure your identity.
Definitely.
Sometimes the reason why you are doing what you are doing is not because it is who you are entirely. It's just because you are responding to something that has happened to you in the past.
Definitely.
So it's time for those voices to come out. That's what Voice of Comfort is all about. Hello guys. Hi. Wanda here once again. My mommy tells me to stop introducing myself that way, that I should introduce myself with my name, the way it's written in my birth certificate, like, cause she's like, don't know where they'll meet you tomorrow, and it'll be like, no, the name does not tally. And I'm like, okay. And she does something very cute. She goes to maybe when I make a post or something, and she sees that I introduce myself. And maybe you know how I say, oh, my name is Iyanu Shemide, also known as Wanda. I think that's what I put majorly. She comes and she's like, Shemide Iyanu Elizabeth. Well done. So she literally called my full name to give clarity. And thank you, mommy, for that. So my name is Iyanu, right? But the meaning of Iyanu is Wanda, God's Wanda. And the English just resonates better with me. So, my name is Wanda. Hello, everybody. This is another special day where I get to have a special guest. Let me tell you the story about how I met this person. So there's a day I was on my way, and I met this guy with full hair that he has cut. I don't know why he cut the hair. I don't know. Like, I'm still mourning the hair.
Sorry, that's me in my transition.
But then it was like,
That's your gut.
Literally, it was like, wow, I like your silvers. I was like, wow, thank you so much. I love them too. Like, I really love silvers. And then it was like, yeah, like compared to gold, I was like, nah, I don't really like gold and stuff. I was like, oh, there are health benefits of wearing gold. I'm like, okay. But I still don't like them like that. But then we ended up having a good conversation. I think we talked about the podcast. Then we just started talking, and he seemed to be like, he shared an insight that was just like not the average. You could literally tell that, okay, this person is insightful, for lack of better words. And then we're like, oh, let's get talking. Maybe we could be on the podcast sometime. And he was like, yes. And I was like, oh my God, yay. And then we tried to meet up. Oh my God.
It's quite funny, like it's not commentary.
Yeah. Right. It's like we tried to meet up. Like, okay, so let's meet this weekend. Let's get to talk about what we'll discuss in the podcast. Like, oh yeah, that'll be cool. So like, okay, so today, maybe this week on Wednesday something will come up, and we went on and on for like 2 months.
Actually, it took quite a long time.
Yeah, and so like every week there's a new plan that was not planning.
So if something was not working at your own side that week, the next 3 or 4 days, it was either my side,
Yeah.
something was not
It's
coming
just
through.
like on and on and on, like on your side, not on your side, not on your what is happening? Like so much that we have to start preaching to each other about resilience. About just knowing that okay, if you're trying to do something and it seems to not be working, then maybe
I'm not
there is
able to
some
say,
there's something here that should work. Then we're gonna push it. We're gonna push it. So we finally got to me, and then those day you came over
no
and we
need.
got talking and we had a very interesting, very insightful conversation. I'm like, oh my god, like wow, like there's somebody this mindful and this like observant.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
That's the
He's
better word for it.
studious. Like, oh my god, it was so good. So like wow, interesting. And it's not like all his knowledge came from. You know, it's a different thing when maybe because you studied something somewhat related, so you got all those knowledge, but Brad said he didn't study anything related.
No, I did
It's
not.
just a. I'm sure you're those kind of people that will just sit there in the corner of a room and be observing and be taking note of everything and be having your opinion. But you're just there, it's just quiet.
I think someone have asked if I was a clinical psychologist before. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, bro, you're
No,
deep.
no, no,
Like,
no,
bro,
no.
bro, you're
Relax. It's
deep.
not that.
Like, bro, you're deep. Anyway, so we finally got to meet and we got talking, and they were like, "Oh, so cool. So this and this and this and this is what we're going to be talking about." All right. So when are we going to record? Then the story started again. Like, okay, we'll make plans for this day. Then something will come up. 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 The last thing that came up was Bully was not feeling well. Bully's here
Bully is
and he's
better now.
well. Yeah,
Thank
he's
God.
fine. Hallelujah. But then, hooray! He's
Give
finally
you a
here.
handshake for that.
Oh,
For making it work and making it full
yeah.
show. So
Yeah, so good.
it's good to be here.
Thank you. It's good
Good
to
to be
have
here.
you here. It's good
Yes.
to have Mark Twain, Daniel here. I got it right.
Yeah, you got it right.
I got it. I got
See,
it.
just for like people that don't know, I have my Instagram. One of my nicknames is Mark Dren. But if I want to properly introduce myself, my name is Daniel. My nickname is Mark Dren, and my new alias now is Danaj. So that's me having 3 wonderful names to myself. So it's a pleasure to meet you guys.
Mark Twain,
Yeah.
Danach, Daniel. Mark Twain, Danach, Daniel.
Sounds good in sounds good to see, right?
Very
Bad guy.
good. He's a bad guy. Explain your hair. Like I do like guys. I wish we did this before he cut the hair. The hair was so good. It was so full.
And so
So
now
it's giving like real Afro vibes. Oh my god.
definitely.
You don't understand.
So guys, so actually, when she met me, I was more on Afro, I was in full Afro hair, and definitely it's quite a good look. This is too, definitely. But the thing was, I can abruptly change my hairstyle or my look,
Sounds like
like
me before.
without warning anybody.
My
so.
sister say I'm unstable in my waist. Like they don't like thinking about my hair because
But-
they can think we are doing this now and next minute I've cut it. But I feel yours is different.
Yeah, mine was for a while. I know I've kept it for a while. I want to replace it. You'll have seen me on braids actually, but this was unexpected. Just like you get that morning hinge and you're like,
Well, so it just happened in the morning.
yeah. I just literally woke up and then just my first few 20 minutes of waking up and my mind was like, Daniel, yeah, I think this hair has to go. I'll tell a few people, maybe 1 or 2 people, so they're not extremely shocked because I've had them almost holding my neck there when I go and take some cuts or I shave or something like that. So I let them know, see
Those are
you
your
just in
accountability
case.
people.
Yeah. So and they're definitely shocked too, especially my barbers. Like all the barbers I know, anytime I go to take I call it extreme
Okay,
cut,
yeah.
they are very reluctant to So it's just me. I
I
like.
can imagine being the barber like
So I one of my barbers when I was living in Yaba. So I shaved my beard. I like took everything off, and I've been on skin. Please, I'm not crazy because I heard that accusation. Something wrong with you. No, I just like
to switch up your
yeah,
look.
yeah, yeah. Just redefine yourself. And then my mind, I'll also give credit to my mind. My mind tells me that, all right, so you're like this. How you look if you take this off? And I'm like, okay, I'll take you up for the challenge. And then I do it. And one thing I noticed when I'm like doing these squats, or when I went on skin for the first time, yeah, I was on full beards, I was on white hair, and then I looked at myself in the mirror, and then
So you're on full beards and white hair.
yeah, I was on white hair.
Your hair was tinted white.
Yeah, tinted
And your
white.
beard was black.
Yeah,
And
black.
it was full.
Yeah, it's also.
And then you cut your hair
Yeah, yeah,
and made it skin.
yeah.
And your beards.
I actually took everything off. If you check,
Your
do I have that
hair
on
and
Instagram? I
your
think I have that on Instagram.
beards. You took your hair off and your beards off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I was learning. Was I learning detachment? I don't really know where to pinpoint it to then, but um
Detachment.
yeah, it was more of less of a detachment thing that um
I've stayed with you too
people
long.
no, not too long, like you holding on to a
I want to
particular
explore another
character
side of
or a
me.
particular avatar of yourself, and then saying that your what is based on
That
that
identity.
physical identity or expression when you are way more than that. Yeah, you're actually like you're a living soul just using this borrowing this meat suit. So for me to feel confident and to feel good in myself, I do not have to depend on my physical appearance to
Okay.
feel balanced and satisfied with myself. So I think when I was doing that, that was a challenge to that. But they say, I find, but you look good. What makes you look good? Your appearance is, or maybe let's say your hair and all. Take it off
And find out who you
and
are
find
without
out.
it.
Find out whether
Damn.
you embrace that self or you freak out to that self or you need that particular look to validate yourself. So I did it. I usually the first like that clarity you get when I do it. I first look at it. It looks sort of weird. Then I start smiling, and then it turns out that okay, it's good. And it's those people that are shocked. People are always shocked. I find people are extremely shocked. You get the last time I was on that skin, so I was in school that time. I was in uni, like I went to University of Lagos, and so like to walk into uni, like you that had hair but skin, it takes a lot, and I was totally like cool, and I had everybody just looking and looking, and especially my lecturers, okay. So they loved it, in fact, because they know me to be more my afro and full beards and all. So funny enough, that scored me points, but I thank God. Some of the people that likes me gave me some extra points in academic, but I don't recommend you to cut your hair because of that. You get. But then, so that was it. So I saw that I could fit into that personality and still look good. I was still looking good, even with that hairstyle. Even though some people definitely they did not agree to it. My female friends they didn't like it at all because like that beard is one of the things that make me attractive. My facial hair. So that's according to what I've been
Sorry, let
told.
me just look. Okay, so listening to you, I couldn't help but notice that you mentioned how oh that you said I still look good.
Yeah.
Was it an adventure of discovering what makes you look good?
Definitely, it was. It was also it was also trying to teach myself a lesson that I do not need the physical things to feel comfortable with myself or to validate myself. With whatever I had or whoever I was comfortable in my skin. no
Which
matter
is
how much it changed.
so you know that there's a difference between to create a balance.
Yeah.
I think you look good
Thank you.
on an average.
Yeah.
Like you look good normal.
Okay.
And you know, there is a standard of looking good that you get to know that regardless of how far you explore, you look good,
Yeah.
right? You're on that spectrum.
Yeah. Let's say that. Can say that.
There are people that know that if I try this, oh my God.
This is the last thing I'm holding on to make me feel this certain way. So
Yeah.
if they take it off, they feel like
Yeah.
I don't have anything left. I understand that.
What would you say about that?
Um, I'll agree with you. Definitely, I'll agree with you, and I'll agree with you, and also bring my new perspective in because, like I said, at the end of the day, it is validation. So who is viewing you is people that is viewing you from the outside, that are telling you, giving you that opinion that is making you determine that this is how you are. So I say, oh, you're so tall, oh, you're pretty, oh, you're fair. If those people did not give their assessment, you have yours definitely, but after they have collectively given their assessment of who you are and they have validated you in such way, you will now know that, or you now conclude that, oh, of course, based on what this general group of people have said, I'm beautiful, I'm tall, I have a very nice dark skin, I'm well built and muscular. So, etc. Those sort of things. And it's good. I do agree with that because our human beings are like social creatures. So definitely that social interaction and acceptance within ourselves is definitely good and healthy as biological people. But then if you take a step further into rediscovering yourself and like really merging with yourself, you now get to a point that such validations become secondary. I know that you can only get that feeling of happiness and satisfaction inward from within yourself.
Yeah.
So if I feel good within myself and I feel that this particular way I decide to look, I'm satisfied with it. I do not have to depend on an external factor to validate how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that when you get to that point, that you can now validate how you feel internally, it will reflect outward. People just, I don't know what is it about him, but
Yeah. So
I don't know.
to
I
back
can't pinpoint, but it
yeah,
could
there's something, yeah. So to back that up, right? I would say that there is an identity that goes beyond the physical
definitely,
that delves deep into yourself.
definitely.
And the ability to explore your existence, to explore your opinions, and explore your perceptions to a point where you can say that this is where I stand.
Yeah,
And say that with all knowing, that with such a firm knowing that you know that regardless of the changes that might happen in certain areas, this stand remains as a stand.
yes, this stand remain as
Remains
a
as a
stand.
stand, yeah. So whether I'm making that hair or not, whether I'm looked, whether I'm looking, whether I'm wearing that luxurious outfit or not, whether I am doing that one thing that makes me feel like okay, this is my best self. If my mind is able to detach itself from everything else on the outward
Yeah,
and have a firm stand on what I am on the inside,
inside.
I would express that out regardless of what
You
I'm
express
looking
out,
like.
yes.
So I might not you that's why you'll be able to see some people that may not be wearing anything seemingly significant, but just their presence tells you that okay, this is
All
person
right,
of significance.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
You literally they don't need to talk, they don't need to do anything, but when they step into the room, it's not because of the prices of the brands that they are on, it's not because of anything else, but you just know that there is this aura that this person works with that just tells you that okay, there is something here, right? And the idea of detachment, right? I like while you were speaking, my mind also just explored just a little too. The whole idea of detachment when it comes to relationships, that there is an extreme side of it.
Of course,
There are people that just feel like, okay, I think I've been here for too long. I'm a little stuck here.
mm.
So let's up and move. What's the next? What's the next thing? What's the next?
So I was saying that in that regard, it's complicated, but it also comes from um, a point of seeking for a particular type of high or a particular type of emotional state
That comes from
that
change.
comes from, not even comes from change, that either comes from that person that you're dealing with, and then you feel like, okay, I need constant dose of this particular emotional feeling,
Mm,
or I feel that this other person outside can give me that dose of that emotional feeling I want.
mm.
And then you have to say, okay, there's nothing more exciting here. I'm not really getting it as strongly as someone that just newly desires me, because someone that newly desires me will give me a stronger dose of affection, of wanting me, or even saying chasing me, and that dopamine and that feeling. So that's what result to scenarios and situations like that. And what happens is that in a relationship, you're actually meant to come together and grow, and to when you cultivate yourself or you nurture yourself, you can now learn how to emotionally have that constant exchange that you need.
Yeah, when you're able to, so it's almost like that's. I think that's the issue. That's the. I don't want to use the word issue, but that's where the complications of having constant change comes in.
Mm,
Because it's possible to say that okay, in life you should change things a little and explore yourself and try to find yourself. And when you find yourself, you will be so confident in who you are that you would now be um you will now find yourself, you'll be able to find yourself in the fullness of your identity and then be able to find yourself in a relationship.
okay.
But then there's also the flip side of getting too used to change, that the idea of staying now becomes uncomfortable.
Becoming nomad.
Yeah, and this even goes like we talked about relationship now, but it goes beyond relationship. You see people that can't stay in a particular location for too long,
Mm,
can't stay in a particular job, can't stay in a particular can't stay with maybe a particular look for so long, can't stay in. It's almost like you're instantly bored and seeking for the next thing.
next trio.
Yes, the next thrill.
Mm.
And it's almost like when you find that thrill, oh my God, that's the best thing that can ever happen to you in the world. But once that is done, it's like,
Feel out.
I can't wait to get out of here.
So what happens in those scenarios is that there's not there's no strong sense of
Self,
identity,
yeah, yeah,
self
yeah,
identity.
yeah,
There is good to definitely explore, but at the end of the day, and it's even common, they'll tell you when you settle down, when you build yourself in this career.
mm,
So for you to get that solid sense of identity
mm-hmm,
in this world
mm-hmm,
and within ourselves, you have to stay firmly at something and give it time and grow in it and become the best expression through that
yeah,
particular way,
mm-hmm,
be it an endeavor, be it a skill, be it a career, or be it you and someone or a significant person.
mm-hmm,
So that is what there's a bit of lack on.
in that state.
Yes, so it's now more or less saying that so after a long period of time of you doing this, all right, the next new thing, the
Mm-hmm.
next new
Mm-hmm.
thing. You now get to a point and be like, oh, and you look back and you see that, okay, what's the
Who am I?
substantial or what's the quality
Mm-hmm.
relationship or connection that I have built? And you see that it's not there. It's just there's nothing really strong and tangible there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'll say about that. I also want to trace back a bit and say something. So there's a saying that I heard. One of the most addictive substances in the world is emotions.
Yup.
Is emotions is a very addictive substances. In fact, I say like human beings were like a very complicated chemical factory, and we don't know how to regulate that. From the way you look and the way you're in your career and even having money,
Mm-hmm.
if you really go down to the root core of it, why do you want to have money? The reason somebody will want to have money is because he wants a sense of stability and security.
Mm-hmm.
And he feels that having this particular amount of money or getting to that financial status will give him that satisfaction of that stability. Why do you want someone to love you or you want your friends around? Deep down, you want to be accepted, you want to be acknowledged. So that is a deep down root cause behind that. And you can extrapolate it to any facet of life or whatsoever you want to do. Why do you want to get that PhD? Because when you get that PhD, oh, you're a doctor now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a satisfaction. Oh, I'm doctor this. There's an
Mm-hmm.
emotional
Mm-hmm.
satisfaction you get from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I now look at it in this way, or this is the way I advise people to look at it. In some scenarios, why don't you strive to acquire that feeling of satisfaction rather than the objects that will give you that feeling of satisfaction?
Okay. Do you want to break that down?
Yeah.
A practical example.
For example, now, um, relationships.
Okay.
Um, I do not need someone to constantly engage with me and compliment me and say everything
Mm.
to make me feel like I'm a good human being or I'm a fine guy or this. I have cultivated myself to that point and I have told myself that, okay, I'm a good person. I'm satisfied with
Mm-hmm.
myself. I'm generally working on myself and I like the progress I'm making
Mm-hmm.
and I'm comfortable in my skin.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone comes to compliment me and tell me they love me, is a plus.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not need them to tell
You
me
don't need the
first.
dependency on. You don't necessarily have
Yes,
to have dependency on that.
I don't have to
Yeah.
have a dependency on them validating me before I feel validated.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to say an example, you hear an example of maybe two people dating and one person like, "You're not calling me every day. Why didn't you call me this time? Or why didn't you tell me this time? Or why didn't you constantly?"
Mm-hmm. Although I guess that when you just to delve into what you just said, when you talk about it in a relationship setting, if someone just all of a sudden starts saying, "Okay, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you?" You don't come off and say, "Okay, why didn't you call me?" to just any random person in any random
Of
situation.
course.
If you're saying something like that, it is because something changed.
Oh, definitely.
It's not because the person just out of the blue just decided, okay, you want
Of course, of
this.
course, of
So
course.
it is like,
There's a break.
yeah. So if someone, except the person is a Luna, right? If
Mm,
someone suddenly starts saying, "Hey, you're not calling me as much," it's because maybe they were talking more often, and
true.
then the pace of their conversation dropped. Do you understand?
Okay.
It's not a
It's
just
not. I
just to
understand the
help
point. I
people,
understand
just
that.
to help people that are
Just to
in
help
those
people
kind of
to, yeah.
situations. Like,
I
I get that.
I
So
understand the
sometimes
point.
when it's like, you're not calling me, you're not. So it may not necessarily be because all my existence depends on you, and I need my validation from you or something like that. It might just be, I notice that there's something different about
I get that.
us,
So you feel that, like they said,
and
match
can we
energy.
address
Can
it?
we address it?
Those
Is
kind
there
of thing.
something wrong?
Yeah, yeah.
If there's not
Which I think
something
is
wrong,
okay to do.
yeah, yeah, of course. So it's always good to have that emotional intelligence to, while demanding for that emotional exchange between two partners,
Mm-hmm.
to also
Know how to communicate.
know
Yeah.
how to communicate and know when to see that, okay, this individual person, is there a certain thing that is going through that he feels like, okay, I need to focus on this, and then
Mm-hmm.
all his energy and attention
Is
goes to
on
that
it.
for that period in time,
Well,
or to deal with it.
yeah, I think that that's very important to know, right? To be able to tell that, okay, this person is going through this, and then.
Mm.
But the thing about relationships is there is accountability.
Of course, accountability and
So
feedback too.
exactly. So, bro, you're going through something. You got a babe that you talk to every day, every time. But now you have to be away for a bit.
And
30
you
seconds voice
let her
notes.
know. So yeah,
30 seconds
it
voice
can
notes.
work. It can
Hi,
work.
girl. So today is going to be really tight. I'm going to be very busy. I won't be able to speak with you until maybe a week or something. I don't even know how our trade is going to be,
Lovely.
like a
It's good.
month. Bam. There is a communication. Now, if the person afterwards decides to be cuckoo and it's like, am I distracting you with this?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Am I distracting you
No,
with
you're
this?
not.
Are you
Just
sure?
do your stuff.
Your eyes has been on it.
Yes. I can just feel with my eyes
So
on it.
if the person that you are with is not like, hey, this will now know that, okay, like half a bit, but I told you that, right?
Mm.
But you can't have a level of expectation on something when you not found a way to clarify, like,
Definitely. So,
yeah.
also, when you do not communicate that,
Mm-hmm.
or give an indicator that
Something like this, which is good,
something is
which is
going
significantly
on,
different.
which is significantly different, is
Mm-hmm.
going on, you can now cause the other person to suspect or be like, what exactly is going on? Have I
Are
done
we good?
something wrong?
Are we
Are we
good?
good?
Yeah.
Get so that happens. And like one thing I feel I know, it's just my opinion, I don't know how accurate it
Mm-hmm.
is that you know that maybe man and woman, they function differently.
Mm-hmm.
So they have situations that men will have to withdraw to deal with something. They feel like, okay, I just zero in and deal with this thing
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person feels that if I have a problem, the best way of dealing with it is
To talk about it.
talking about it, and then I can now get the solution to deal with it.
Yeah. So difference in personality, right?
So different in that.
Yeah.
And then the person that have to like isolate yourself and deal with it is now going against the person that feels that you are meant
You're
to
supposed
talk
to talk
about
about
it,
it. Yeah.
and now feeling like you're doing something wrong because according to how I
I
operate
know. Yeah.
and I know things are done,
You're
you're
supposed
meant
to
to
talk
talk
about
about it.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
I can literally, maybe I found myself in a situation like this before.
so,
But what I don't learn to understand as the balance of this is that communication just clears off everything.
of course, communication clears
Like
everything.
communication literally clears off everything. Just a simple heads up of, and I feel if you know your person, you also know the standard of expectation from
You
your
should know,
person. Like,
definitely.
hey girl, I know that you want to hear about everything, I want to talk about everything, but I feel like I really need this moment out to process this thing inwardly for a bit. And when I'm done, I promise you I'll talk about it. But I just need like a week to really,
I'm not going anywhere.
yeah.
I also mentioned that maybe
I
you're
just
trying
need
to
like a
ditch
week.
them.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about it. That is like one ticket of, I don't understand people that don't communicate. And when I say don't communicate, I understand your need to oh my god, some of my friends will feel like I'm coming for them because I have some friends I'm always shaking like
So that at the end of the day, you now see that this now draws all the way back to the core of what you wanted to talk. One of the things we wanted to talk
yeah, that's
about:
mindfulness,
mindfulness, accountability, and
accountability.
even trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, if example, I saw one post where somebody was like, this guy was like, he was going through something and he knew that at that moment, all he wanted to do was maybe scream at the top of his voice or just shout or something, was to just pour out the emotions he was feeling. But understanding the wife he married and knowing she came from a physically abusive family, he may not want to punch her, but
Of
just the
course,
idea of hearing him scream would immediately trigger what has happened in our past.
of course,
And understanding that, what he then decided to do was to take a leave, like, oh, babe, I'll be
I have
back.
to, I
I
have to
just need
leave
to, like,
this
yeah.
place.
And he took a drive. And then he went to just express himself. Like maybe just found a rooftop or something to just
Whatever.
deal with it,
Yeah,
right? And come back home. Because you know who you are, you're
definitely.
mindful enough, you are accountable with your partner, not just in the not accountability as in, oh, I'm telling you the things that are going on with me, but you're also accountable for the emotions that the other person feels, and
Definitely.
knowing that, okay, if I do this, this thing would
It can lead to
trigger
this
this other person's
series of
trauma,
events.
right?
Yeah,
So because I care about you and I don't want to trigger this trauma in you, I'm going to do this. But then if I'm doing this, I also need to understand that I'm going to communicate it so that you don't feel like, okay, because this thing is going on, then I'm ghosting you or I'm getting isolated from you and stuff. So like you said, there is the account. There's first the mindfulness that is able to make you understand that, okay, this is who I am.
this is
This
who
is
I am.
how
This
I
is how
am.
I am.
This
This
is
is
how
how I
my
feel.
yeah. Then this is how my person is. This is how this other person is. This is how this environment is. This is how this circumstance
This is
is.
how I might react in this situation.
Yeah,
Whether
right.
will I withdraw from it or will I be the one to be more confrontational?
Then this reaction, is it a trauma response? Is it a trauma response in me? Would it trigger a trauma response in the
Yeah,
person that
will it be for our highest good? Are we going to go, are we moving, are we going to get the progressive results, or are we going to get the regressive results from this action I take? How can I treat or tackle this
particular situation
particular
without
situation?
stirring up something
Yeah.
else?
So at the end of the day, is neutral. You understand?
and
So
and and,
that's
and then the idea of accountability is also, okay, I know I'm mindful enough to know that this is how I am and this is how I feel and all, but I'm accountable to your emotions.
definitely.
I'm accountable to your perspective of things. Accountable to your wellness the same way you're accountable to mine. So I understand that this is how I'm feeling. I understand myself and I know that this is what I have to do to feel better. But accountability in itself would maybe even sometimes, okay, so first, like what we already said, just being mindful enough to know that, okay, if I do this, it's going to trigger up something in this person that I care about and I don't want it. If I speak this way, if I act this way, it's going to trigger something in this person. If I act this way, is it a trauma response in me? Was I triggered? Then if I act in certain ways, oh, if it was a trigger in me, how can I
How can I
seek
tackle it?
accountability?
Yeah.
How can I also seek accountability from the people that are around me that care about me to make sure that this is not it? And that was the example of what I said. Where I said before we started this recording, where I said I literally reach out to a friend and I'm like, just tell me, focus.
True.
Like, no, normally on an average situation, if I reach out to you and I'm like, oh, this and this and this and you just say focus, it'll be like, bro, are you shutting me up? But now we understand that that is our code. And like you said, it could be butterflies, it could be anything. But communicating with your person and knowing that, okay, this is who I am, this is what I've understood as my way of reacting to certain situations. I've understood that is a trauma response. I've understood that when I do these kind of things, it's because of these things that are somehow connected to this thing that has happened to me in the past. And I'm trying to let go of it. So whenever you see traces of it,
Yeah,
saying butterfly, just immediately remember that, oh, you're doing that thing again.
yeah, or you're
So
going through
gotta
this train of thoughts, or
yeah,
you're experiencing
yeah.
these patterns
So
again.
so the next thing to do is to try to cut off, is try to get out of it. Try to get out of it. I think mindfulness, people talk about mindfulness when it comes to, okay, themselves, being okay for themselves and all that. But the deepest aspect of mindfulness is being accountable for the emotions of other people around you too, and being
And
will
your own
and yeah, and
emotions.
being willing to. First, I don't think you can properly be accountable for others if you're not accountable for yourself.
Exactly.
So you first start with yourself, but then is yourself then an extension to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yourself an extension to other people, seeking out, okay, how to receive from other people and also how to
How to give
give
back.
to other people.
There was this saying, they were saying that some people are plastic and some people are glass. So some people, if you throw a ball at them, being glass, they shatter. So when they are faced with a statement or they are faced with something uncomfortable, they shatter. Like it get all chaotic and all dramatic and they can't handle it and it falls apart. And some people, when you throw something at them, the reference to being plastic or rubber is that they absorb the shock or they absorb the impact. They ask themselves, first of all, they ask themselves, okay, what do I do in this situation to be confronted like this or say this and that or to be called this? Am I what they called me as? For example, now, if I use the word hypocrite, they say, um, so I had a friend when I was much younger, and we're all discussing, we're having our friendship discussion, and he was telling people how they are because he have a gift for like reading people. So he was saying, "Oh, you are this person. Oh, you are lazy. Oh, you are the life of the party. Oh, you are a rebel. Oh, you're always acting like a hero." And I think I asked him, and he didn't really say much. But then we're working back to our hostel, and he said, "Yeah, hypocrite." And like that's my head just I just go hot, and then like a thousand questions ran through my head. And one of the significant questions ran through my head was, am I a hypocrite? Who is a hypocrite? And basically, a hypocrite is someone that sees something and he does not do it. And I said, are there scenarios in my life that I have said I'll do something and I did not meet up? And it's not only like I betrayed others, I betrayed myself. So all those questions came in and I just calmed down. There was anger first. And that's part about absorbing the impact because I'm a human being. I felt offended. But then I processed that information and then I thanked him. You know it like it was in my head. So I asked myself, and another thing, if you are not what they call you for, you can calmly respond and say, I'm not that. That's your opinion, but that's on you, you get. So people should learn how to be responsive instead of reactive.
Reactive.
When you're responsive, you can now be able to pick out the truth in some ways because it's a perspective thing. It's our opinion because they felt that it's coming this way. But it's now your opinion for you to bring out the principal truth from such scenarios. Look at yourself, assess yourself, see how you can adjust on it. If you feel that it is something that is a flimsy accusation or it is not reflecting you, you boldly say, this is not reflecting me. You have your opinion. You are entitled to your opinion. If you need to defend yourself, you defend yourself. If you need to be held accountable, like how I asked myself, are there
Okay.
scenarios that I've been a hypocrite
Yeah.
and I find out there? I now say, okay, I'm going to change towards this because I appreciate the fact that he was being clean enough to tell me. People not tell me, and I'll lose a lot
Yeah.
of things. And I'll lose a lot of things even to myself. So that's basically what I'll see about that's basically what I'll see in that regard to that. The way people intercept emotions and react to it, and definitely trauma. which I feel that is one topic that is not discussed because it is not, is more of, it is not a physical or tangible thing. It's more in the mind than
Yeah.
we. Yeah, go ahead. You want to say
Oh,
something?
I wanted to say, and it takes a level of mindful searching to
Definitely,
realize this. Like, trauma is so powerful, you can literally reconfigure your identity.
definitely,
Like, because of trauma, a sanguine can be a choleric.
definitely.
Because of, like, it can literally reconfigure. That's why I'm always very skeptical about the idea of owning these identities,
Hmm.
or these self placements, these
Definitely.
placeholders,
Yeah,
right? Because sometimes the reason why you are doing what you are doing is not because it is who you are entirely. It's just because you are responding to something that has happened to you in the past.
definitely.